Hello everybody and welcome to Talk of the Town. Steve Putnam here with you this week. Glad to be here in this wonderful new studio, and that's actually what we're going to be talking about today, because I've got somebody over here that I'm well acquainted with and you're well acquainted with, whether you know it or not, because every time you watch one of these shows, this is the man that's putting it together. This is Mr. Tim Foster, who's the director of C19 TV. Executive Grand Poobah. We're so glad to have you on the show today.
I love all the titles, Steve. Thank you so much.
You need
and
the big purple hat.
we'll work on
horns
that.
on the side.
We'll work on that. Horns? What? What? We'll work on
You gotta
that.
spend more time with the Flintstones.
I do need. And while we're starting, Steve, thank you for what you do for Talk of the Town. By the way, you didn't realize Talk of the Town has been on C19 now for 24 years. Can you believe that, Steve? Now, you haven't been the host for 24 years.
No, I haven't been the host for 24 years.
We've had a lot of great hosts. Star Camper back in the day. You've been the host for over a decade, and I appreciate what you do. And it's been exciting times for C19 over the last, 4 or 5 months.
It has been. Now, I know that this is, like I've been saying on the last couple of shows, and now this one as well. This was my first opportunity to see our new studio here. So, give us a little history of this, because the broadcast program has been a part of Cleveland Community College for a long time. How did that, give us a little history.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's been a part of it for many, many years. The channel started in the early 80s. So was on Channel 22 at one time. A lot of our, if you're older, and you're not, Steve, of course.
I don't know anything about that.
You don't want to think about
that.
that.
I don't think about that.
But when you go back to those years, realistically, C19 in a lot of different forms has been on the air for 43 years, which is pretty remarkable. And, a lot of people had a part of that way back in the day. And I think about, and I just want to start talking a little bit before we get in the studio. We had a ribbon cutting here, a couple of months ago to get this new location, which, we're up beside the Jive Cafe, and between that and our library, which is wonderful here on campus. And we have a ribbon cutting, and one of the individuals that is really in the early infancy that kind of helped get it going was Dot Roark. And Dot, at over 100 years old, was here for the ribbon cutting. There's a wonderful picture of her in our studio, and she got to speak that day, and we had so many people. Dr. Jason Hurst, of course, our president, and many others that were here that day. Ted Alexander was here. We just had a lot of folks, former hosts, current hosts. But, this was a process. The discussion of this studio started 2 or 3 years ago, Steve. And the main reason, our old studio down in the Bailey building, with an unbelievable growth in healthcare, they needed more space. And we've seen that growth. We saw it before COVID. We've seen it after COVID. And that kind of opened the door to make the move up here to this new location. And it was really amazing to watch the infancy of how it started being put together. You had acoustic aspects of it for the audio side. Now, obviously, we're sitting on some of the new sets on the video side. A new green screen, which a lot of our viewers are seeing shows on. New sets that you're sitting on right now. I mean, not many people have been on these sets so far. And here we are in the 3rd week of October, and we've been going for about a month and a half, and it's very exciting. But it was about a 2.5-year process, Steve.
Well, I know it's been talked about for a while.
Oh,
I'd come in for the show and I'd say, "Oh, when are we moving?" Well,
it always takes a little bit longer than you think. There's so much involved.
There was so much involved. I know, but it's turned out really, really well. And you were talking about how you're much more visible in this area as well.
We are, and it's really neat because you kind of talked about it. We've had a lot of folks that have come in and had tours already. Not only from the community, but from other counties that are coming in, other faculty and staff that have wanted to check out the facilities, and of course just our guests and our hosts and everything. They want to see kind of the new look and some of the new aspects that we have here. And we're going to talk about a lot of different changes and some new shows that are going to be a part of C19 as we head on into the end of October and November and into 2026. But one of the things I love, and we're looking right up at them right now, are our new LED lights. So for, folks, and Holly's got a good shot of that, and I'm going to talk about Holly Hamrick, who I'm so blessed to have working with me here at C19 now. But these LED lights are just really, number one, they're much more energy efficient, but the quality of it is better. The quality, now, me and you don't have wrinkles, right? I don't think.
Absolutely
I mean,
not.
I may have a few,
So,
but
so anything they see wrinkle-wise,
that's just,
it's got to be the lighting.
That's by accident or lighting, yeah.
Like, we'll say the lighting.
Yeah, but it shows everything in terms, because they're really
Sadly.
good lights, as opposed to those old scoops that we had back in the day, and you remember, they were pretty warm back in the old studios. So not only new lighting, a lot of new equipment, it really adds to what's a pretty phenomenal studio.
It does, and I'll never forget when Greg switched over to HD, and he
Yeah.
was saying,
And you're talking about Greg Tillman,
Greg
former
Tillman, of
director,
course,
yeah.
former director.
Yeah.
And he was talking to me. He said, we can just zoom right in, and he kept showing me how close he could zoom. And I was like, pull back out.
Yeah, wait a minute.
Keep pulling back out.
We need a wide shot, yeah,
Need a
instead
wide
of a tight shot,
'Cause
yeah.
I know also, there was all the technology, there's all these filters, so you actually can make me look much more handsome.
Well,
you can work on this.
I don't know if there's so much we can do with that for me or you
Oh,
or
no,
with that,
listen.
Steve, but we'll give it a shot on that. But yeah,
you can
it
do
really is. High definition has changed so much, and we're in an age where everybody has it, and technology, everything's gotten smaller. Our studio cameras are fairly big, but in our control room, and I'm looking at Holly Hamrick in there right now, we've got a new, what's called a switcher, but it's helps do multi-camera because we're using 4 cameras today. And with what we do, multi-camera is so important, but the technology, right when you think, hey, I've got the newest technology, the newest camera, and this can even be with your phones, but I've got the newest camera, I've got the newest tripod, I've got the newest switcher, I've got the newest software. Guess what? They come out with a newer one. It's pretty remarkable. You're right.
It is pretty remarkable, and yeah, that's true with all the technology that we use these days is that way. So I suppose it would be fitting that it's no different in your world than it is in our world. It's
Right.
So I'm looking around, and you look at the equipment that's in here, and you look at the equipment that's in the control room, and you're like, wow, that's so much smaller, but it's also so much more powerful and so much more capable. So
Yes.
everything's getting smaller and better. I wish I was getting smaller and better.
Yeah, well, yeah,
I seem
exactly.
to be getting larger and less.
I think I'm in that boat too sometimes, but you're right. The technology is amazing, and what's really neat is they painted us a green screen over to my left right now from where we're sitting. So we're on one of the many sets that are here in the new C19 studios. But over to our left, we're doing a lot of production in front of the green screen, and it gives us a lot of flexibility. And I think of we think of Talk of the Town, been on the air 24 years. Political Smackdown's been on the air 23 years, which is pretty remarkable. We've got shows such as Senior Moments that have been on the air for over a decade, Artworks that have been on the air over a decade. Armchair Quarterback, of course, everybody loves sports in Cleveland County, and during the fall with high school football and college football and Carolina Panthers, that show's been on the air for 23 years. So it's pretty remarkable to me, and this was way before my time, Steve, that we've got a lot of programs now on C19 that have been on 20 plus years. We're talking not just 1 or 2, 3, 4, 5 shows. A lot of history that's pretty rich here with our channel on Spectrum Cable.
Now, how long have you been with C19 and with Cleveland Community College?
Yeah, I'm getting close to 16 years, Steve.
Wow.
And I know you had been here sometime when I first came, and and you're kind enough after your retirement to continue to host this program. But hard to believe 16 years, and it's amazing the changes that I've seen. Really is.
I know, and you've got that radio voice, though. See,
I've done a little radio.
So I was about to say, before this, I'm sure had
Yes.
been pulled into some things and projects and so forth. You've pretty much had your whole life invested in broadcasting in one form or another, haven't you?
Well, it is.
Just
my
came
dad,
right out of the crib. with the
right.
microphones
Well,
in your hand.
when your dad worked in radio, my dad Andy worked in it.
I was gonna say, 'cause there's
55
some history
years.
here.
Yeah, he'd
Yep.
been in it already a decade before I came around in the mid '70s, and I grew up with 45s all over the place in the house, and then it was CDs that came around.
Yeah, but your dad was the radio voice.
He was the man. He still is. Nobody. I'm pretty biased, but nobody did it quite like him. And it's
Yeah, it's so awesome.
yeah, and of course my brother has worked in it, and he's kind enough to, I get to call him, hey, you want to jump on a show or two for us from time to time. And by the way, you've got a great voice as well, Steve. You've been doing this a long time. But, you know, I've had to, and you really do, I've learned to be in front of the camera, behind the camera, and I think the more you can do that, and that's what we tell our students, the more you can be versatile, because this industry it changes, and the more you can do, the more you can do as far as careers, and I think that's crucial because it's always changing.
Right. And I know it's one of these things where now I know that the skills that go into production like this, I know people tend to think of moving into like WBTV or WSSC
Sure.
or one of those environments, but we do so much media creation these days.
Yes.
That's not, I ran into one of your students that's actually running a podcast service right here in Shelby.
Yes.
And he's very popular in Shelby.
Yeah.
And everything that he's got in his studio, he learned here. He passed
Well,
through you and through this
yeah.
program. And so I'm just sitting here thinking, you know, it's not something that is limited to one of the ABC, CBS, NBC, Spectrum, or one of these giant conglomerates. There's so much opportunity because almost every company has a media outlet or controls their media footprint these days much more tightly than they ever have before. They create their own media. They create their own content. And so this content creation comes right out of the skills that they learn through your program.
Well, I mean, everybody, you know, the thing that has changed so much over the last 10 or 15 years, everybody's got a YouTube channel.
Right.
Everybody's podcasting. You know, I've talked with Holly Hamrick, as I've talked about, who works with us with C19. Holly had a long career working in live television in Charlotte. And we talk about that now the videographer is us and with our phone. And I'm pointing down here to my phone. But think of a lot of the footage you see of an accident, a fire, that comes from an individual that maybe you recorded, Steve, off your phone and sent to a news channel, and they put it on the air. You become the videographer. And, you know, we've talked about the attention span, too, of individuals. You've got to really draw somebody's attention quickly because most people just want to see it very fast because, unlike me and you, when we were growing up, we got all of our news off of a TV set, right? Now everybody gets it off their phone, online. So YouTube videos, social media presence, and that's one thing I want to talk about in the second segment that we're really up to with C19 TV. But you really got to have that because everything is so fast moving. And it seems like to me, Steve, that the news cycle changes so fast that the big story from yesterday, it's gone a lot of times by the next day.
Right.
So fast, you know.
It is, and you're behind already if you're reporting yesterday's news.
Yeah.
And I know that's something that you have to instill in your students that come through here too. Is just what they learn here today is not what they're going to need tomorrow. Really, you have to train people to become lifelong learners because if they don't, they're going to get left behind. Pretty much in any career that they're looking into to getting involved with today.
Yeah, technology is changing so fast that you really do. But those skills are important, you know, how to run a camera, how to be in front of a camera. And then again, you know, like we said, you know, it's just amazing what people are doing with their phones. You know, some of the, you know, ability to get footage and the quality of it. And, you know, I remember as a graduate of Appalachian State, I remember big tapes, Beta SP, and now everything are these little tiny small SD cards that I a lot of times lose in my jeans. And I'm like, where's that card? Or it's in my car, or it's in my jeans, or it's falling into something. But the technology is really phenomenal, Steve, and it just continues. And who knows what it'll look like 10 years from now.
That's right. Who knows? They may just plug it straight into your head.
That's true.
But before we get to that far and before we go down that road, I know that we're going to have to take a break.
We got breaks around
breaks.
on C19.
You got to have breaks. You know, so because people got to have time to go to the refrigerator because we're not found a way to make that faster yet.
No, we haven't. Not yet.
So we're going to take a break here. But if you do slip away to go to your refrigerator, be sure to come back because there's more Talk of the Town and more Tim Foster right after this.
Cakes and cookies, toys and gifts, Christmas at your fingertips.
It's the shopping event of the season, the Southern Christmas Show, November 13th through 23rd at the Park Expo and Conference Center. Experience Santa's workshop, brimming with timeless childhood delights, twinkling lights, and festive cheer. Buy tickets early and save at southernchristmasshow.com.
Let's go to the Southern Christmas Show.
everybody, and welcome back to Talk of the Town. I'm still sitting right where I was when you left me, and I'm glad you made it back from the refrigerator. And the person we've been talking to, Mr. Tim Foster, is right here with us as well, and we're talking about some of the changes here at Cleveland Community College, both for the studio and the programming and things moving forward. So, Tim, we're glad to have you on the show, and we're glad
Thanks,
that we've
Steve.
had the conversation we've had so far. But I know we were chatting it up a little bit about the in the world right now, the AI and so forth. It's is that part of what you go through with your students and try to work through some of the changes? Because it's really getting kind of interesting right now with that topic.
Yeah, you know, some crazy stuff going on with that. You know, some very positive aspects. There's some things you kind of worry about a little bit. You hope that it doesn't get to the point where, you know, and there's probably some technology that'll be out there where, you know, instead of having an individual in a control room, you have a setup where it just can manually switch to everything, and then you don't need anybody in the studio. But you know, it's kind of, now we're starting to think about some of these crazy movies that we've watched through the years. I hope it doesn't get to that point. And no, we're fortunate to, you know, it's important to learn those skills to be able to be a producer and director. And I want to give, and I mentioned Holly Hamrick, who works with us here at the college now,
Right.
who works with me part-time and is working with marketing. She's such an important part of what we do with C19, and she's been a big part of helping really boost our social media and our streaming aspect. So, you know, you can watch C19 on, if you've got Spectrum Cable, but also, Steve, there's C19.tv. And all of the programs that you watch, you can go stream anytime you want to. So, you know, obviously this show's on 4 times a day, and it's on at 6:30 in the morning, 11, late morning, 6:30 in the evening, and 11 at night. But if you don't catch it there, then you can go catch Steve at any time of the day.
That's scary.
Yeah, that is a little bit scary.
That's a little scary.
That might be scarier than AI, actually,
might
a little
be.
bit. But all of our shows are there. And in today's world, really, Steve, you've got to have that streaming presence. So you can go not only watch all our shows, you can see our schedule. You can see when Political Smackdown is going to be on, that special concert is going to be on,
Right.
Talk of the Town. You know, when we get into the fall, you know, once we get into Armchair Quarterback and we start getting to the playoffs of high school football in November and December, that's going to be exciting times. And we have a lot of viewers that watch. And it's really neat because we can kind of get an idea of how many viewers that we have watching online. And it really, our numbers are really increasing. And again, Holly's done a great job of kind of teasing some of our shows that are going to be coming up. But that streaming aspect is great because sometimes we have guests that come on that maybe their parents live in the Northeast or in the Midwest or out West, and so their only way to be able to watch it is online. And I just think that, I mean, obviously in our day and time, that's become the norm, I think.
I think so too. So if they wanted to stream that and watch that online, how do they do that?
C19.tv. Just go there, and then you look for Talk of the Town, you look for Political Smackdown, you look for Artworks, you look for Meet Me at the Movies. We have about 12 shows that rotate, Keeping the Faith, Armchair Quarterback. And then, you know, Steve, it won't be long, but we'll be having some specialty programs that we have every year, and that'll include Christmas parades.
Oh, yes.
They're just right around the corner.
around the corner.
Yeah, and of course, every year we have graduations. We air all 4 high school graduations along with our Cleveland Community College graduation. And a lot of, and of course, all of our groundbreaking. We got some groundbreakings that'll be coming up. And I wanted to kind of touch on, Steve, we've got 2 new shows.
That's what I was going to say. We
Yeah.
need to get to that because I know you've been talking about these 2 new shows and you've not even told me what they are.
Well, that
So
was,
you-
I was kind of kept that,
Make
yeah, a little
peekaboo here.
a
So
little
tell us
peekaboo.
about it. What's
Yeah.
happening?
Well, we're excited about Blue and Bold is a new show that'll be airing in the month of October.
Okay.
And it really gets us in depth with Yeti Athletics. You know, we've had Cleveland Community College Yeti Athletics in junior college for almost 6 years now. And our very first episode is going to focus on cross country. And not only do we get to talk to the coaches, we get to talk to the runners. And we were out on location, myself and Holly were recently. And that's great. So we get really in depth with the runners. We're going to cover cross country. We're going to cover basketball, men and women's, volleyball. You know, we'll have baseball that'll kick off at the start of 2026 again. You know, while basketball is going on. So a lot of people forget there's very few times other than just a few months during the summer that we don't have some athletics going on, and that show will cover a lot of that. And then another great show that will be on C19 is called In the Loop, where we're going to give you everything that's going on the campus of Cleveland Community College. And there's a lot going on. There's a lot of growth. there's a lot of new buildings that are coming on this campus. You know, we think about the new C19 studio, we've got a lot of new buildings that'll be starting construction in 2026. You know, you've seen this place grow tremendously, and it just continues to do that.
It just does. You know, I make jokes all the time that I'm going to wake up one day and there's going to be a Dollar General in my backyard because they pop out of the ground like mushrooms.
Yeah, you
Well,
just walk
it's
out of your backyard and walk right in there.
It's about to be the same way I will walk out there one day. It's going to be part of the Yeti campus.
Yeah,
out there in my
that's right.
backyard,
You can just
right
walk
beside
to
the
the
Dollar
campus.
General.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but because it is every time I come here, there's some. I came into the parking lot today and I was like, I never thought I would have to have directions to get through the parking lot.
I know,
When I came to the
yeah.
parking lot today, I was like, wow, this is not anywhere near like it was when
Listen,
I used to work here.
trust me, there's been
'Cause
times-
it's just
yeah.
so different now. Everything is just
Yeah.
so much. I mean, there's just so much here now. It's amazing just how much this place has grown in
Yeah.
the last 6 years or so. It's like you said, it's been really, you've been really blessed. I think athletics has a part to do with that.
Sure.
But it's like it's just breathed a different kind of life and a different kind of feel into the campus, hasn't
Yeah,
it?
it really has. And I want to talk about, you know, it was interesting before we opened up this studio a couple of months ago. This goes back to the mid part of the summer. One of the first times that we turned on these lights was when WBTV came in and used this studio to have interviews with at the time he's our chief of security here, Jeff Ledford, but at the time obviously was police chief of Shelby. They sat down and had a conversation about the 10-year anniversary, of the Charleston shooting and the arrest of course, Dylan Roof here in Shelby, North Carolina. And the reason I bring that up is they were really complimentary of the location. And of course, that was such a sad time, but at the same time, we were so proud of how Cleveland County handled that. And Jeff was here and a lot of law enforcement that were part of the arrest that day. But I thought that was really interesting that the studio was used for that day. And that was an interview that was shown, and a lot of people
I was
watched
gonna
it all
say,
over
I
the
actually
country.
watched that
Yeah,
interview.
you saw that. And really good, I thought.
Really good interview, and I'm sitting here thinking, you know, I didn't realize at the time that was this, but that was this studio.
Yeah, yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and that kind of, you know, in a very somber anniversary, I thought it was neat that we got to use the studio for that, and you know, it's just we're very fortunate. You know, like I said, we've had a lot of folks that have come through, and we made for 17 years. We had a lot of great memories in our old studio down in the Bailey Building, lower part of the campus, and I just think about the many memories and the great events that are going to be and shows that will be produced here in the years to come, way past my time, Steve, and yours as well.
Sadly so.
Yes.
But anyway, I'm just thinking, you know, this is indicative, though, of what has been happening here on campus, because the growth and the new life that's been breathed into this particular program is happening at the same time that all this new life is being breathed into the campus as well. So
Yeah.
I would encourage anybody that's not been here in a while to come back, because I think you're going to really be surprised at what you see. It's really impressive.
It really is. I mean, you know, with the technology that we have here, the ability to produce a lot of shows, and then you talked about it, we've got a student center that will start construction at the end of 2025 into 2026. You know, the growth that we've got in our healthcare program, and we'll be covering a lot of these in a lot of our programs. We're going to cover it in a lot of different facets. And you know, that's the great thing about this show. You know, there's so many wonderful things that are going on, and a lot of people just love to come in and check out the new look. And again, I just love the LED lights, the green screen that we have, the ability to mix and match sets that are really new. And, you know, that's one of the things. We're sitting in a lot of the new furniture that we got as a part of this move as well. You know, we decided, hey, if we're going to move, we're going to bring in new furniture, just like a new home. You know, you got to bring in new furniture with the move, and so it took a lot of people to make this happen. And kudos to them, and of course, kudos to them. And of course, it starts with our president, Dr. Jason Hurst. But there were a lot of people that have been a part of this move, and it really is a lot more involved. And it's usually just like when you move into a new home, Steve, it always takes a little bit longer than you think. But we're getting there. We're excited now as we head into the end of October. Very exciting times.
That's awesome. And I know that maybe people are out there thinking, you know what, there's all these shows. I think my idea would be good. If there's somebody out there thinking, you know, I've got a story idea or a show idea, they need to get in touch with you.
Yeah, and I think Holly's got a graphic, and my number will pop up, 669-4019. And I know you're going to talk about info at c19.tv about show ideas, but I do. I'm out and about in Cleveland County, whether I'm in Bowling Springs, Shelby, Kings Mountain, and folks say, hey, I've got an idea for a show here or there, and I'd like to sit on the couch with Steve and talk to him about my event that's coming up or this event that's coming up, because, a lot of times there are and you cover a lot of events. You interview folks for a lot of events, but there's a lot of events sometimes people forget about as well. And we get to this time of year and there's a lot of events going on, because it's hard to believe, hey, before we know it, we're going to be heading into November,
I know.
Thanksgiving, and right on into the holiday season. It's crazy to think about.
We're right here, and I know there are times of the year when things, like you say, bunch up together,
Yeah.
where you have all these things happening at the same time. And a lot of our shows here recently, or my shows at least here, it's
Yeah.
been people trying to get plugs in for the different things that are happening in the community. But
Yeah.
but there's always more, and that's one of the things I've noticed about the story ideas that come
Yeah.
in. So I have to believe that there's somebody out there that's got the idea for the next C19 TV show.
Absolutely, and I get pitched a lot of stuff. Don't think I don't hear pitches all the time.
All
from
the time, I
different,
bet, yeah.
Yeah, about this show and that show, and there's some good ideas out there, and some that are a little bit interesting for sure. But hey, keep them coming, because that's what it's all about, And we do a lot of stuff. And one thing I don't even talk about, I hadn't talked about. I know we're winding down, Steve. Is we do a lot of shows on location as well.
I was gonna
think
mention
about
that.
Deborah Blanton in Cleveland County Kitchen. We're out all over the place. We're at farms. We're in kitchens. We're in locations. I mean, we're getting a little mud on our shoes from time to time, and so that's another great program that we have. And kudos, want to give a shout out to Noel Manning and Meet Me at the Movies, because over 600 episodes. That show's been on the air now for 11 years. I just think about a lot of our shows. When some shows start, you think, and I think some of our hosts of the years have thought, well, maybe this will last a year or two. And a lot of them, here they are 15, 20 years later, still on the air. And I'm thankful for that. And I just want to thank our viewers, Steve, that watch C19, either if they're watching us on the channel or watching us online. Without them, of course, we wouldn't have the success we have. And I just want to thank our supporters. I want to thank the board, the Cleveland Community College Board of Trustees. And I want to thank those that have helped with donor-wise financially to C19, Steve.
Well, that's awesome, and I know that support's going to continue in the future. I have no doubt, because it's been a very quality production through all the individuals that I've been involved with here. Before you, it was Greg. Before Greg, I don't guess I know, but I came in during that time, and you've been here the whole time, even with Greg. And it's been a pleasure and an honor to work with you guys, because I see what effort you put into it, the professionalism that's put into it, and also see the product, and clearly it's something that folks are responding to. So
yeah, and I would just
thanks to you guys.
Yeah, and I just want to thank you, Steve, for what you do. And the television medium is still as strong as ever. It was strong during COVID. It was strong before COVID. It's a powerful medium. And of course, hosts like you are a big part of that. So thank you, Steve, for your time today.
Oh, you just want me to come back.
Well, I do. Well, of course, I buttered you up a little bit, but thank you for
Just
having
a little
me.
bit. Just a little bit.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for letting me sit on the couch. If
That's
nothing
okay, though. I
else.
like butter. I like it on everything.
well,
You know,
okay,
it's
we'll
good
do it
on
then.
toast. It's good on
That's it. It's good.
But anyway, I do thank you, and I thank you guys, because as much as he does that I appreciate, I also appreciate the fact that, and I know he appreciates the fact that the viewers actually watch the shows, because whether we do a good job or not do this, we wouldn't have a show. It wouldn't continue to be a product if it wasn't something that the community was getting something out of, and kept coming back for more. So we really appreciate that. Our faithful viewers, both to this show and all the others, keep us on the air. So we thank you for that, and we thank you for your story ideas, because that's also how a lot of these things happen. Like Tim said, it's how we get show ideas, it's how we get story ideas for segments within current shows, and also where some of our new shows come from. So keep those ideas coming. Send them to info@c19.tv so that we can share with the rest of the community what you've thought of and what you've experienced as the best of Cleveland County. But until next time, Tim, thank you for being on our
Thanks,
show
Steve.
today. Thank you for joining us today for this show. We look forward to doing this again. But until then, this is Steve Putnam signing off, saying have a great week.